welcome to the Work on YouTube. I'm your host, Rompe, and in this episode, we have so much to cover. There's so much that has gone on since our last video that we did about Francisco Lindor and that deal. So, I'm not going to be able to name all the big deals because I don't remember a lot of the small deals. The big deals, the ones that are significant, I remember off the back of my head. And we're going to do our best to just run through those right quick just to catch you guys up and to prepare ourselves because spring training is next month. And I have a big project also for next month, intertwined with like Black History Month. So stay tuned for that. We're going to talk more about that at the end of the video. But now I want to talk about free agency because that's been crazy. And trades, I think more trades have popped off this year than free agency. And that can be due to the COVID and the losses that a lot of teams took last year, right? It's crazy to think how 1 year can affect a ball club with respect to keeping their talent and the money they have moving forward. It's wild, but so a lot of moves have been made. So far we know that the Cleveland Indians and the Pittsburgh Pirates are rebuilding. They're in full rebuild mode, and in a way I feel a little sorry for Shane Bieber because he's just starting to get into his own. So now he has to maneuver through losses and try to pitch to the best of his abilities. You see, it's kind of like the Grom in 2017, not in 2018, a little bit in 2018, but the Grom kind of figured it out in 2018. Right, but when you look at his first season, which was 2014, when he won Rookie of the Year, he's such a good pitcher, right? He's in such a good trajectory. He's gonna be good for a while. So Shane Bieber has to really dig deep into that, maneuver around the losing and the 90-something loss seasons and stuff like that, because they're talking about trading Jose Ramirez now, that's crazy. Like, that's full rebuild mode right there. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they've been this kind of the same. Like 2015 was the last year they made the postseason, and they got outed by the Cubs. And since then, it's just been trying to really figure it out, really. But they full fire sale. Traded Josh Bell, didn't get a top 10 prospect. Traded Musgrove, didn't get a top 10 prospect. Just recently traded Jameson Taillon and didn't get a top 10 prospect. The San Diego Padres, on the other hand, they are recognizing that this is the opportunity. Their window of winning has opened, and it's open now. So they're recognizing that, but different because they've done this before. They've been all in before, but it didn't work out. This time they're taking a completely different approach because they're keeping their top prospects, and then the top prospects that they are trading, they're getting good guys in return. So that's something to really keep in mind. They're learning from the Dodgers. That's who you want to replicate. Now, the other side of that coin is the Yankees. I've gone on about this topic, the Dodgers versus the Yankees. They're both successful teams. They make the playoffs almost every year. The Dodgers more so than the Yankees. Recently, and the Dodgers have been in the World Series more than the Yankees recently. They're the better team. They take the cake. You get what I mean? So the San Diego Padres are learning from the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're getting good players and they're not trading their top prospects. Mind you, that all started when they traded James Shield for Fernando Tatis Jr. Bam, right? So now their window of opportunity is open now, and they're taking that, they're grabbing it, and they're ready to go. So most of that started early in the offseason. They traded for Blake Snell. They traded for Yu Darvish. They went on and made another trade. They traded for Joe Musgrove. They did a 3-team trade with the Mets and the Pirates to get Joe Musgrove. They traded Joey Lucchesi to the Mets. The Mets and the Padres sent prospects to the Pirates. Pirates this offseason have gotten 14 prospects. They're going to be a completely different team in 2021. So, boom. The San Diego Padres have revamped their team. They got the pitching that they needed. That was the problem. Trying to get deep into the postseason, they didn't have enough pitching to get them there, right? And the pitching that they did have, their guys really started breaking down towards the end of the year, which is a little concerning because it was a 60-game season and both their best pitchers broke down at the end of the year. So they really had to go in with what they had, and what they had just wasn't enough to beat the Dodgers. They fought like hell, but it wasn't enough. Another team that's been just lighting the world on fire, the Toronto Blue Jays. They're recognizing that they can compete with the Yankees. They have the young talent. I think they have better young talent than the Yankees do. And I can debate that all day long, but I just feel like their young talent is better than the Yankees' young talent. And we're talking about the long haul. I mean, yes, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has to show us something this year. Bo Bichette is good, but can he be consistent on a whole 162-game season and stay healthy? Yes, there are question marks, but that's with every single team. But I feel like the Toronto Blue Jays kind of saw what they had last year. They want to build on that. They have they have good pieces. They have really, really, really good pieces in Gurriel. And, it's just so many good pieces that they have. Toronto Blue Jays are on the come up, and they just signed George Springer. Now, it was between them and the Mets to get George Springer. The Blue Jays were in for one of these big free agents. They have catchers, so they didn't need Real Muto. Second base was DJ LeMahieu, but LeMahieu wanted to go back to the Yankees. So he does go back to the Yankees, 6 years, 90-something million. So it was more the Yankees get what they want on the AAV, and DJ LeMahieu gets what he wants for the years. So DJ LeMahieu stays here for the rest of his career. The Yankees benefit from giving him less. So he gets $15 million a season rather than 20 to 25. So the Blue Jays pivot. They go to George Springer. They said, listen, we got to go big or go home. So they had two chances. So it was either George Springer or Trevor Bauer. I think they want to take their chances with George Springer. So they went, they did that, spent $150 million for 6 years, and they got their guy. Now, the Mets couldn't go that far because they have Michael Conforto, who's younger than Springer, and at the same time is ready to really, he's been breaking out. He's been consistent. Now, George Springer is a consistent guy, but George Springer's not going to be in center field for long. He has about 2-3 years in them legs. And if the Blue Jays go back to Toronto, I'm giving him a year and a half in center field. The turf in Toronto is a killer. They were successful last year because they played in Buffalo. You would hope that they fix that when they go to Toronto, but Toronto have turf issues, and if they fix those turf issues, then fine, they'll be okay. But I mean, it's crippled the careers of a lot of their big players, and that's crazy. But moving along, right? So Toronto, they get George Springer. So they're in the mix right now. They might get a couple of, middle of the rotation guys, looking at Jake Odorizzi and a guy that they had last year in Taiwan Walker. So that's another aspect of, where they can go, but pretty much they're pretty much done with the big time spending. And I figured that they had one shot to really get somebody of significance. The Angels are on that same hot seat. Now, they have the money to go that far, but they've already committed a lot of dollars to Pujols, Rendon, and Trout. They had the opportunity to offer Trevor Bauer a chance to win and win now. But I feel that him going to the Angels is kind of like the situation with the Reds, right? They're gonna be competitive in the division. They're gonna go ahead and they're gonna make some noise. But are they better than the better teams? I still feel that the Astros are the better team. I still feel that, possibly the A's can still be consistent and win some games, though they lost a lot. So right now, it's open season, but the Seattle Mariners are on the come up. They got young guys coming up, and they're gonna make a little bit of noise, right? So yes, he can go into the Angels, take the Angels to the postseason. We get to see Mike Trout in the postseason, which is what we all want. And fine. So right now, it's the Angels or the Mets, but the Angels haven't made an offer yet. So do they even have that kind of money to offer right now? He wants top dollars. The Mets have that to give. The Mets got nothing to lose. But the Angels are on that hot seat. So that's something to look at right now. But right now, the noise that's being made is the Mets and Trevor Bauer. And where there's smoke, there's fire. Because throughout this offseason, Trevor Bauer has been shooting down inaccurate information that has been put out there. And his agent as well. They've been shooting, something stinks and it doesn't smell good, they're shooting it down. They haven't shot none of these rumors down. So the Mets are in it. And apparently 11, 12 days ago, they gave an offer. So right now, the Mets are doing their due diligence. They're making sure they cover all their bases. But it shouldn't have no impact. All this noise about how he treats fans on Twitter and all this stuff. Listen, I feel like you have to really read into what's going on. It's not always, okay, it's a female. She's 17 years old. She's a college student and blah, 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 blah. Okay, I get it. And listen, respect to everybody. You get what I mean? But we're talking about his diehard fans. This is a Nicki Minaj situation. Nicki Minaj has diehard fans, and so does Beyonce. They have diehard fans. And if you talk negative about Beyonce or Nicki Minaj, their fans will attack you. They will threaten you. They will do the worst. And it's like that sometimes. Now, does Trevor Bauer have control over that 100%? No, you can't control what people type. You can tell them to your blue in the face to stop. That doesn't mean they will. These are diehard fans. These are fans that are these are, everybody has these fans that are on a little bit on the psycho side, right? But you'd be hypocritical to say, no, we can't hire him because of that and the whole Jared Porter situation. I mean, we're talking about Jared Porter who sent 62 sex messages to a journalist, right? Harassing her, making her feel uncomfortable. And we're talking about Trevor Bauer, who's a player who really just trying to increase the entertainment value. Like Bryce Harper chirps with fans on the field all the time, and the fans give him hell and he gives them hell back. Is he cursing them out? No, not all the time, but sometimes he proves them wrong. There's that little back and forth. It happens. Fans talk trash, you're going to talk trash back. That's the love, and it's a love and war when it comes to fans and trash talk. You understand what I'm saying? It's just like with Russell Westbrook in Utah. That whole situation, it always happens. Fans want to talk a little bit of trash. They take it a little bit too far. But when the athlete goes out of body and they really start really showing them like, listen, I don't play that. That's when oh, no, you're an athlete. You got to show class and you got to be professional. Like, no, I'm a human being first. And then second, if we going to talk that shit, we going to talk that shit. It's just that simple, right? There's no sugarcoating it. If we're going to get out of body, we're going to do that. And when I'm backing it up, like, you going to go, like, let's talk. Keep that same energy, basically, is what I'm saying, right? But it would be hypocritical to not sign him because of that. Because you have the Yankees, who their starter, Domingo Germán, attacked his wife at a freaking team event. And then Aroldis Chapman firing gunshots at his wife in his house. But he's still closing games for the Yankees. So I don't want to hear all that. If you're gonna keep that same energy, then let's cancel Chapman. Let's cancel Germán. But no. We're not gonna mess with the Yankees empire, man. Listen, excuse me with all that. We are here to win now. You see what the freaking Padres are doing. They're building a freaking stable of stallions over there. We gotta match that. And how do we match that? You bring in Trevor Bauer and you let the guns go. It's that simple. We got to compete, and this is how we're going to compete. So right now, I think the Mets got a couple things lined up, right? We need a lefty reliever, so there's rumblings about Garrett. There's rumblings about Hader. If that's true, I think we should be in it. The tradable pieces we have, obviously, J.D. Davis, Steven Matz, Jerry Familia. I think any three of those guys can bring you a significant left-handed reliever into the fray, into the mix. We could even hit up the Cardinals and try to see what they could do with Andrew Miller and their center fielder, right? So there's things that can be done. Right? So I'm not going to go ahead and just sit here, and the Mets have a couple things lined up. They're just crossing the T's, dotting the I's right now, and then once the situation is clear with Bauer, which we're probably going to try to get that done before February. Once that pops off, everything else is going to fall in line, because then you're going to have to move Matt. You're going to have to move Familia. And I know it's going to suck saying that, because it's like, dang, but it's kind of like a money situation. Listen, that's dead weight. We're building something here, and we can get guys for cheaper. Like, you can move Familia, you can move Matz, right? Take half the money. Kind of do what the Yankees did with Ottavino. I see the Mets doing the same thing with Matz and with Familia to move that money so they can go ahead and continue. So Trevor Bauer, Jackie Bradley Jr., and a reliever, those are the final three pieces that we need to compete this year. We get those three pieces, then we're good to go. As far as the DH situation is concerned, I do not know how far the Mets are going to go with that, or I don't know what the situation is on that, but I know that the Mets are going to be active over the next week or so to get ready for spring training. Pitchers and catchers report around the 17th. So that's right around the corner. MLB wants to start the season on time. Clearly, they don't want to lose any more money. Same situation with the NBA. So I can bet Buster Olney's farm that Major League Baseball is going to start on time, because just like the NFL, just like the NBA, it's imperative that they start on time this year, because if they don't, lots more money is going to be lost. They already lost a whole year. I don't think they want to lose any more. So a resolution will be made. They'll figure it out as far as Arizona. Maybe they can move to Los Angeles. Maybe they can move to Texas. There's things that can happen. They can create a bubble for the Arizona for spring training. They can create like a bubble situation, and in either Las Vegas, Texas, or Arizona. Or Los Angeles. So there's moving pieces there. They can, they can find some warm weather states, even in Florida. They can create some bubble situations where, they'll have to, some certain teams have to share facilities with other teams, and then they'll just play them for the entire, play everybody that's close for the spring training. So there's things that can be done to, maneuver around spring training and make sure the season gets started on the right path, right? Because there's already a blueprint onto how to get games going, whether there'll be fans or not. That's, up for debate. What I'm thinking is that the first half of the season, some stadiums are going to have fans, some stadiums aren't. And then after the All-Star break, because apparently with the vaccines and COVID, they're hoping, fingers crossed, everybody do what they got to do their part. If everybody does their part, by July, we should start getting people, by July, August, we should start getting people back into the stadiums. So, after the All-Star break, start, packing in, or maybe for the playoffs. I think they can go a whole season, which is going to suck because it's going to make it worse for a lot of other teams that already lost revenue last year. They're going to lose more revenue. But again, I still think they could get fans, but not full stadiums. I think they'll be at like about 25 to 50% capacity, and we're talking about a 50,000 seat stadiums. So I think the Chiefs for their playoff game had like about 15,000 fans in there. So you can make it work, right? It just depends on which states are going to allow that. I don't think New York is going to allow that right now on the onset, but look, we see what they did with Buffalo for the playoffs. So it's to be debated. But we're going to talk about the teams that right now are so competitive. The Yankees stay competitive. Though they didn't make crazy money moves except DJ LeMahieu, they basically are bringing back the same team, which is the team that went into a Game 7 again. So this is, not a Game 7, a Game 5 in the DS. They went to a Game 5 in the DS. They didn't have the pitching that they needed, but they got some pitching now. Corey Kluber, Jameson Taillon. They made moves, and they still have the young guys, Jordan Montgomery, Herman, Severino supposed to come back. So let's see what happens with that. There's a lot of ifs with that Yankees rotation. I think they made a mistake not bringing back Tanaka, because Tanaka has that postseason experience playing in New York. Though the elbow is a question, he's been pitching with that bad elbow for like the last 4 or 5 years. So that if the elbow is the issue, that's an excuse, right? That's just, you're cutting ties, you're cutting bait for no reason. But Tanaka goes back to Japan on a $7.7 million deal to go back to the Golden Eagles where he was before, right? So I think they made a mistake with that. I think he could have got a deal with any major league team. The fact that he didn't get a deal with a team, that's disappointing. For me, that's disappointing. But we'll see what happens with that. The Pittsburgh Pirates, again, 14 prospects. None of them are top 10. The best prospect they got was a guy, Heed, and a couple of the Yankees pitchers that they got that are going to be in their rotation, and we'll see what they can do. But again, the Yankees traded Ottavino to the Red Sox, which is going to come back and bite them in the behind big time. Because like anything to make the Red Sox better, you don't want that. And the Yankees are banking on the fact that, Tampa's still going to be Tampa, so they can always win. Toronto is going to be better. So they're banking on the Red Sox being a fourth place team, but the Red Sox don't ever sleep on them. They showed it in 2013. They showed it in 2018. They even showed it in 2007. Like that franchise, they can fall asleep. They can have some losing seasons, but they'll come back and they'll win. And that's the sneaky thing about them, right? But Chaim Bloom got to really show his chops. And let's see, getting Ottavino, maybe getting a couple more pieces for that bullpen will do something for them. We'll see. The Phillies, they get back JT Realmuto what that does for them, nothing. It does nothing. The Phillies do not get better. It's that simple. They'll probably get Didi Gregorius back. Depends on if they're willing to cough up $30 million. I don't think they have it. And Freddie Galvis goes to Baltimore. So, the Phillies are in a bad situation. They're not going to be better. And it's possible that they could be a last place team with the way the roster is constructed. Their prospects haven't showed anything except Alec Bohm. And that was in a 60-game season. So is he going to show that? Is he going to have a sophomore slump? Is he not going to show out in 2021? There's a lot of questions with the Phillies, so I don't expect them to compete. If they do compete, get a wild card spot, good for them. I would applaud them, but the Nationals have gotten better. Literally, they've gotten better. They've made moves. I don't understand how the Phillies can't do that. The Nationals didn't spend no big bucks. They only went out and got freaking Schwarber from the Cubs, and he was a freaking free agent. So they get Schwarber from the Cubs. They go and they get Josh Bell from the Pirates without giving a top 10 prospect. So they're ready to compete. Are they going to be better than the Mets? I don't know. This last year was shaky for them. They get their closer though. They went and spent big bucks. Well, I'm not going to call it big bucks. They get Brad Hand to replace Sean Doolittle. So what that does for the Nationals, I have no idea. You're replacing Sean Doolittle with Sean Doolittle. That's how I view that move. It could have worked for the Mets because he was not going to be in a high leverage situation. He was going to be that lefty guy to come in and get some lefties. And, he's been a closer, so he can, with the minimum 3-batter rule, he can pitch a whole inning, even against right-handed hitters. So, I don't know. I don't know what that does, for the Nationals. Still think they messed up with their guys. But, hey, that's to them, right? They won a World Series championship without Bryce Harper. But Anthony Rendon was their guy, and they should have kept him. But anyways, Realmuto goes back, highest AAV for a catcher in Major League history, and he got to show out now. He got to show out. He got to earn that cash now. He got it. He's earned it, but he got to go and show that he's worth it now, because if his legs give out, and it's a 5-year deal, so if his legs give out and he can't really. If he forces the freaking Phillies to trade Rhys Hoskins so he can play first, and Rhys Hoskins get traded, and that's on Rhys Hoskins as well. He got to show out. He got to come and show that he can ball. If he doesn't show out that he can ball this year, he's out. Plain and simple, he's getting traded. That's how I see it, because it's no more. There's no more. I mean, the National League East is the best division in baseball. So, yes, the Phillies would be competitive. They're not going to lose every single game, but they can be a last-place team. The Marlins made the playoffs last year, and they were the second-place team. So, I mean, we were the fourth-place team, but it was a crazy season. It was a crazy end to the season. But at the end of the day, the National League East is the best division in baseball. The National League West is going to be the Dodgers and the Padres fighting it out. The Central is trash. So, I mean, make with that what you can. The American League Central is going to be doo-doo, garbage, hot garbage. The Twins are probably going to still be the best team in that division, which is why they didn't even need to bring back Nelson Cruz. The West is going to be horrible, which is why I think the Astros are still going to be good and win that division. The American League East is going to be a battle and a fight between Tampa, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays. And right now, the Yankees get the edge because they have been there. They've been there the last few years. So, it's like Okay, Tampa, they get an edge too, but they just traded away Blake Snell, so which is kind of crazy. His last game, the way that whole thing goes down, and then he gets traded. That's not a good look on them. It's a good team. They know how to find diamonds in the rough, but bad optics trading Blake Snell. They should have traded him in the middle of the season, maybe, if they weren't going to compete. I saw that as a better option than doing it right away, and they did it right away. So that goes to tell you how they felt about him, which sucks because they've done it before. But that's been their MO. They've done it. They did it with David Price. They did it with Chris Archer. Blake Snell's the next guy. You get what I mean? So, Tyler Glasnow got to hold the load for Tampa. So, a lot has happened. What are we waiting for in the next couple of weeks? Spring training is going to start. So, the last big free agent is Trevor Bauer, and I think the gears are going to start moving with that. If the Angels don't present a deal by the end of the weekend, I just think Trevor Bauer is going to be a Met. I think right now he's preparing a way to announce it in a video. He's dropped a couple hints with his thumbnails for his videos. The Dodgers can be in it. But if the Dodgers are in it, it's not going to be for the high AAV because you got to think Cody Bellinger is out there. They're not going to do what the Tampa Bay Rays do, give away their best guys to just keep going and reloading. Now, it's possible because a lot of their guys that they had aren't there anymore. But I think the move for the Dodgers is to bring back Turner, re-sign Corey Seager for the long haul, unless they're planning on getting Correa or somebody else, but I don't see that happening. So, they could go ahead and get Trevor Story. They could go ahead, but you're going to toss big dollars at other people than your MVP. I don't see that. So, they're going to keep the 2 MVPs on that team, and I think that's what's, for the future for them. So, I just don't see it. I see Trevor Bauer coming to the Mets because it's New York City. It's the media capital of the world. If you are big here, you are big everywhere. And I couldn't stress that enough. If you are successful in New York City, you can succeed in a lot of other places. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you can succeed here and not succeed elsewhere. Jeremy Lin, Kristaps Porzingis is my examples, right? So I think it's a match made in heaven because he does not need to be the number one guy. We have the best pitcher in baseball with Jacob deGrom. So Trevor Bauer fits like a glove for New York. We didn't get Springer, so we're just going to dominate everybody without pitching like we did in 2015. So what the rotation looks like, we're talking about Jacob deGrom, Trevor Bauer, Carrasco, Stroman, David Peterson with Noah Syndergaard at the end of the year. David Peterson will take the load, but then, as the year goes on, they'll flip-flop with them two. Bauer wants to go every 4th day, so it's not like he's pitching every 4th game. It's every 4th day, right? So, the Mets can maneuver that, probably give some of their guys long stretches, but I agree with Bauer because we've seen Jacob deGrom on long rest. He doesn't perform well. So on short rest, he can perform well. On time, every 5th day instead of every 5th game works for deGrom. So you throw deGrom out there every 5th day. You throw Bauer out there every 4th day. Then you mix and match with the end of your rotation. It's going to be wild, but it's going to be successful. It's going to be a good season. It's going to be competitive. We're going to compete. And on the last note, before we get out of here, with Bauer, he's coming to the Mets because I look at what he did to the Braves that almost went to the World Series. And he pitched one game against them in the postseason. That same postseason when the Braves went out and just dominated. He pitched against them, and he dominated them. 12 strikeouts, 2 hits. The way he competed against them is the reason why he needs to come here and pitch for us. Because we need to show the Braves that we're ready to punch you in the mouth if you think you're going to come in here and you're going to dominate us like you did for the last 2 seasons. Ain't going to happen. Right? The Nationals won in 17-18. The Braves won in 19-20. So, I mean, it's that simple. You know? So, that is where we are. I want to just catch you guys up on a couple projects that I have that's coming out. I have a vlog series that I want to just, kind of like a pilot to see how you guys like my vlogs. If you guys like it, then that's dope. Also, I am going to start a story time series where I tell stories, my sports stories. The series is going to start off with my baseball career from Little League all the way to college. So we're going to talk about all of that, all those experiences and how fun that was, even, trying to make the team in high school and stuff like that. So all that will be a part of a series, storytime series. It's going to be broken in a couple parts. Then I'm going to talk about some sports stories, like, meeting some, the time that I went to a Giants event and, got to eat dinner at their training facility, got to, talk to some players at their training facility, play some tag football. It was a fun event. It was dope. So that's also another thing that I get to talk about. And then talk about my love for baseball. My first ever game, how I fell in love with the game, the players that I looked up to, when I was a kid, as I was playing Little League and stuff like that. So all those things I want to go ahead and do for you guys. So that's something to look out for as well. And along with the podcast will be returning. Right now, we're just trying to line up a couple of guests, working on a couple of moves to get this thing strong and rolling. So thank you guys for just staying with me, listening to the podcast whenever I drop an episode. We're trying to be more consistent on the podcast, but I would be lying to you guys if I didn't tell you that I want to get the best possible guest on the show, and I feel like I wouldn't be at my best if I didn't get the best. So I feel like I've done well so far through 5 episodes, and we're going to continue that. As well, continue the work on YouTube where we talk about sports news. We're going to be expanding a little bit as the NBA season goes on. We're going to be talking some Knicks as we go on to, after the Super Bowl, as we go on to free agency for the NFL and, the draft and stuff like that. We're going to be talking about some Giants. So it's just sports talk here on the Work on YouTube, the Dream Network, where we're going to be dropping a vlog series, story time. It's going to be dope, man. So I hope you guys go on this journey with me. 2021 is going to be fun. It's going to be amazing. So let's get this party started. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that bell to get the notifications. And don't forget to subscribe and listen to the podcast. Subscribe on the podcast on iTunes, The Work, or Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. And don't forget, Ray's Energy Drink is also a sponsor of ours on the podcast. So don't forget to get your promo code 5% off when you use the promo code DREAM. And again, thank you guys for jumping into this video. I know it was a long one, but there was a lot to cover, and I kind of didn't want to do it in spurts. I wanted to kind of do everything at once. And right now, as the Trevor Bauer situation is coming to a close, he's the last big free agent, so there's not really any need to cover more signings unless something crazy happens, a crazy trade or something big like that happens. I'll come on. And I'm also thinking about doing some live streams for these things too, because cutting up videos I just feel like it's a little tedious when it comes to these moves, because you just really want to talk about it, and I want to talk to you guys. So absolutely, definitely will be looking for some live streams. So the Dream Network Live is something that I really want to bring to 2021. So, that's the final announcement. So the Dream Network Live is something that is going to be centered around baseball, the Mets, what's going on in baseball, kind of like a pregame show type feel. And then when news breaks, breaking news, jumping into that. So look out for that as well when it comes to like doing live streams and stuff like that. And gaming, that's something that we'll talk about down the line. Once news of MLB The Show 21 comes out, we'll figure out what's going to happen with that. And again, thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's been a while, but we're going to try to stay consistent. We're going to try to get some crazy good guests on the show. So stay with me. And for all my wrestling fans, don't worry about it. I got you guys. I ain't forgetting about you guys. There's a lot that we're going to be able to do. So look out for that as well. 2021, let's enjoy it, man. Again, thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. Thanks for watching The Work on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that bell after you subscribe to get the notifications. Also, like and please leave a comment. And lastly, don't forget to come get this work.